Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Chilly morning this morning. Full show today. The Honey Milk Ranch attempting to split a 30-inch log. We've also got some new trail cam footage of Starbuck the Buck and a really clear picture, up-close picture of the wild turkeys and a couple foxes and some other mystery animals that you guys can maybe help me identify. We're also going to be doing an image overlay of Tesla's electric vehicle power plug, which seems to look like Tlaloc's face. Tlaloc is the electric lightning bolt god who required child sacrifice, and it's almost a match. We'll be getting into that today, as well as getting caught up on the newest American Horror Story episode, in which a phantom twin is discovered, which is what we thought might happen early on in the series, and now that's been confirmed in this most recent episode. Now, a quick note, housekeeping item before we move on today. I updated the description box of all the videos to include rules about what has now become ad-planing, I'm going to call it. Ads-planing, which is basically complaining about the ads. It's not going to be tolerated anymore because it's being used by the people who want this channel to go away to try and discredit us. Now, YouTube Terms of Service says they can terminate any channel that's not commercially viable for them. So it's a big target on your back. If you are a truth channel and you do not have ads, that's the perfect reason that they'll use to terminate your channel. I know a lot of people lose their channels and they're upset about that. One of the reasons why they lose their channels is because they're not running ads on their videos. And it's YouTube's platform and their rules. There's ads on all the other videos people watch. Makeup, hunting, fishing. They all have ads on them. But for some reason, people like to troll this channel and say, you've got ads on your... Well, that's because it's YouTube's platform. And their rules are clear. If you intentionally remove the ads from your videos, that you got a big target on your back because you're not commercially viable for them. In other words, if people are watching your channel more than other channels who do have ads on them, YouTube will slate your channel for termination, and that's just how it works. So we have to do it. Now, what else is going on? Well, let's get into some other things today. Today's show will be one of those shows for the archives, because what I'm going to show you today is something that the entire archaeological establishment missed about the Aztec calendar. We're going to be in Stellarium today. We're going to be looking at we're going to be looking at astronomical alignments. We don't believe in astrology here. Astronomical alignments, dates in the calendar. And so I'm excited to show you guys all that. Let's get it going. Now, I wanted to start with the Aztec calendar discovery that we made a few days ago and how that fits into the new fire ceremony every 52 years. 2027 will be the next new fire ceremony from the Aztec calendar. Here it says it right here. There are indigenous communities that continue to perform the new fire ceremony every 52 years. The next one should come in 2027. Now, what's important about this new fire ceremony? Well, during this new fire ceremony, all of the flames and fires were put out, and people sat in darkness on the 5th of November every 52 years. Now, this paper actually confirms, says the ceremony that was then to be drilled to reopen the next new cycle of 52 years on the opening midnight date of 5 Imix. Let's make this so we can see this. 5 Alligator, just as the Pleiades neared the zenith sometime around the date of Gregorian November 4th, and in some cases the 5th of November. Now, at this point, what they would do is 52 reeds were tied together and burned. This is part of the ritual that they would do. And the reeds were lit from the burning heart of a human sacrifice. The Burning Man. This is where the ritual came from. It originated from this burning of the man, going all the way back in the beginnings of the Aztec calendar. So what will happen in 2027? I don't know the answer to that. But here's what the sky will look like on the 5th of November, 2027. In the skies over Mexico City, where this cult seemed to originate, as the Pleiades begin to reach their zenith in the Gregorian calendar. These are the Pleiades here, and I've got this pulled up to look at this from the vantage point of Mexico City. And look at what happens in the sky as we travel through the wee hours of the morning of the 4th and into the 5th of November. You see the Pleiades moving to their zenith at about this time, which they do this time of the year. Now the question people are probably asking is will is what I'm trying to say, there be days of darkness that's talked about in the Bible? It's definitely a possibility. Now, these are the Pleiades, the center of the screen here. And notice something else here. This is Orion next to the Pleiades, and it's always been next to the Pleiades. But what a lot of people don't know is that Orion and the Pleiades are two of the three constellations mentioned in the Bible. Remember, God was talking to Job. And he said to him, who could bind the Pleiades or loosen the belt of Orion? So it's interesting that these two constellations, the Pleiades, and here's the belt of Orion. Let's zoom this in over here. Whoops. This is the belt of Orion here. Are next to each other in the zenith position, which is the highest point in the sky. Let's zoom it back out. Here they both exist up here. And in fact, the Pleiades and Orion are doing exactly what God said they would do in the Bible. Now, many of you know Job is the oldest book, one of the oldest books ever written down. And the only way you would know that the Pleiades are slowly moving together and that Orion is slowly moving apart, the only way you would know this is if you could travel in time, like you can do in Stellarium. Instruments were not accurate enough, even spanning hundreds of thousands of years, to detect that the Pleiades were moving closer together or that Orion was moving further apart. So how did the ancients know? Well, they didn't know, but God knows because he created the Pleiades and the belt of Orion, which he names in the book of Job. Now, that's a fascinating read. If you want to go back to the book of Job and read about God talking to Job, you'll be amazed, because here we have a very, very old book of the Bible that seems to know about astronomical accuracy in the stars that otherwise shouldn't be known. unless you had a time machine, or if you were God who sees the beginning from the end and also created all these things. Now, let me go back into the chat and check in with you, because now we're going to get into the Aztec calendar, and I'm going to disclose to you something that has not been looked at yet. A brand new archaeological discovery. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Now, that's one proof that you can tell people about the stars and the constellations and proof of God. Now, some people will argue that possibly these ancients had technology and that's how they knew this. And I'll choose to believe in God, that he knew the beginning from the end. Now, what else is going on? Well, let's take a look. It is well known that the Aztec calendar depicts the Pleiades, the 7 stars, on the calendar. Let's take a look here. Now, this is well known. If you go to, this is the Aztec calendar here. It's called the Aztec calendar stone. Okay. And virtually every archaeologist will admit that these 7 stars on top of these 2 serpent heads are the 7 sisters of the Pleiades. They will tell you that. You can count them here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is accepted knowledge. Now, I believe that this giant snake wrapping around the entire calendar stone is the Milky Way. You can see it here going all the way around. The 2 heads meet in the middle. And I believe that what is being depicted right here is this. I hope you're sitting down for this. This is the Milky Way ring connecting back on itself. Here's a wide shot of it. And at the top, we have the connecting serpent heads. Now, this is crazy. When I found this, I couldn't believe it. Because I was like, wait a minute. This is the calendar stone up in the sky. Now, I found a higher resolution image of this. Now, everybody knows that this is the Milky Way. And they know that the center of the Milky Way is the brightest up here. And then it comes back around and forms a ring beneath. But watch this. Here's the higher resolution image of this. When you go up here and zoom in, you can see the faces opposing each other in the brightest part of the ring. Let's zoom in and take a look. On this side, 2 faces, or a face. You can make it out right in this area here. Let me zoom in on one face. There's actually many faces. Look at this face. Over here. This face. And this face. And those faces oppose this face. See how they oppose one another? This face. Creepy, right? So, we've got these opposing faces in the brightest part of the Milky Way galaxy, which seems to be this here. Now, here's the problem with this. It's in the wrong position, because the 7 sisters are not here where the brightest part of the Milky Way is. They're not here. The seven sisters, the Pleiades, are actually down here in Taurus. They're literally directly opposite the two facing faces. See, here's Taurus and Orion, where the Pleiades and the belt of Orion is. It's opposite. So what is going on here? And why are there two sets of the seven sisters here? Because see, there's one on each side. Where are they? Now, what does this suggest? Does this suggest some kind of cataclysm? Does this suggest that parts of the book of Revelation that talk about things changing in the skies, the signs, and what does it say? A third of the stars? That the stars will change in the last days? I wonder if this is what this is about. Because again, the seven sisters on this calendar stone should be on this edge, opposite the faces, in the dark part of the Ouroboros of time, the Milky Way galaxy, which forms a giant serpent in the sky. So what are they doing down here? Well, I've got some theories on this. First of all, let's tackle this issue first. Why are there two sets of seven sisters? Well, let's take a look, because I think I figured that out. These are the Pleiades here, the seven sisters. And as you can see, very close to them, this is the belt of Orion. There is another star cluster called the Hyades. You have the Pleiades and the Hyades. The Pleiades have seven prominent stars, and look at the Hyades. Again, the Hyades form the belt of Orion. Let's go back in the stellarium and show you so you can get an idea of this. I'm sorry, they do not form the belt of Orion. They form the Taurus right here. These are the Hyades. I misspoke there. Look at this. Here they are, the Hyades and the Pleiades. Oops. Pull this into frame here. Okay. Now, watch this. When you zoom into the Hyades, they have seven prominent bright stars, just like the seven prominent bright stars in the seven sisters. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, it can be argued that there are other stars, but it seems as though the brightest ones, there are 7 points of bright light in the Hyades. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So, we have a counterpart Pleiadian system of cluster of stars. And you can almost make out the general shape. It's shaped like a V, right? This is shaped like a V. The Hyades and the Pleiades are somewhat shaped like a V as well. And they're both pointing downwards. Now, here's where things go off the rails, as I always say, because what we are looking at here, two V-shaped symbols next to each other, could represent the fast forward. Remember Trump Tower? Next to the Superman building, they look like two fast forward symbols. We're like, what is that about? Well, it could be a reflection of what's up in the stars. Now, if we go back to the calendar stone, we can almost see the same thing. Let's go back to it. Now, I'll put links to all this stuff for you guys, as well as the Stellarium browser app, because you can access Stellarium now through the browser. But look at this. Here they have them kind of in a Fibonacci curve, the seven sisters on each side, but it's the general shape of a V, an inverted V. I think we just found something here that explains more detail about this calendar stone, the Aztec calendar from which the Mayan calendar was based. Now, it gets a little bit creepier and a little bit more specific, because look at these tops of their heads wisping off. Well, when we go back to the circle, the Ouroboros of the Milky Way, you can kind of see the same thing wisping off the top here. Look at this. Above the faces. Except it's inverted, isn't it? The wisps go out instead of going in like they do on the calendar stone. What's that about? Well, I'm not God and I don't know. We're just making observations here. But what if at one point we're going to look up in the sky and all this is going to come to pass? It's going to manifest in the stars. A sign of the end times. Now, how could astronomers and archaeologists have missed these glaring similarities in the night sky to this Aztec calendar? How could they have missed this? I don't know, but I looked and no one's really talking about this. Now, all of this brings us to Tlaloc, the god to whom which the new fire ceremony was sacrificed to. He is still being worshipped today in the form of the 5th of November celebrations and Burning Man and all these things. Yet, another 2023 film includes this false god by name. The 2023 film that just came out on the 22nd of September of this year. Just so you know that we're not all crazy, they named Tlaloc by name. I mean, the sheer amount of times that he's been named in the past year is baffling. We found at least 5 or 6 different movies and films within the last year to 2 years that mention Tlaloc by name. And this makes absolutely no sense unless you can see what's happening with spiritual eyes. Let's take a look at the film VHS 1985. Here it is right here. Just came out. Now, before we watch this, and I did remove some of the more shocking images, so I didn't want to expose you guys to that, but I still left in the specific imagery that demonstrates what we've been talking about for 2 months now. You can look back on the channel, and about 2 weeks before this movie ever aired on September 22nd, 2 weeks before that, we were exposing the cult of Tlaloc. What are the odds that it shows up by name in this film? Well, it's because we're over the target. And I can't take the credit. It goes to the Most High, who is influencing this channel to reveal these things to people so they can wake up. And if this was the only instance where it just happened to appear in a movie, then you might say it's a coincidence. But again, it's happened several times after we started talking about it in movies. Now, let's take a look. Remember, Tlaloc required the sacrifice of live organs in the shape of a heart pulled out of the chest of the victim. This is obviously his mask, and they actually say his name in here. It's very subtle. But basically, they had to make sure that they covered this ritual mention of this in all genres. We found it in a cartoon. We found it in horror. We found it in gruesome horror, which is this, which I'm not going to show you the more gruesome parts. But they want to make sure everybody gets the programming of the flaming heart so that they can then, do their rituals. Now, I turned off the sound in a lot of this because it's the scariest part of some of these scenes. I don't want you guys to have those sounds in your head, but I did leave the sound in for this first part in which he says the name Tlaloc, very subtly, but you can hear it. Let's take a look. Now, this part of the film, just to give you an idea of what's going on here, because it's a little bit confusing. This movie, VHS 85, is an anthology. It's several stories mixing together of found footage from VHS tapes, all taking place in the year 1985. Okay? And they're not real tapes, but it comes across as real because they're using the old video recording technology, right? And so essentially what happens is this particular part that I'm showing you here is all in Spanish. I almost skipped right over it because I don't speak a lot of Spanish. I know a little bit of Spanish, but I almost skipped over this 15 or 20 minute part of the film that was in complete Spanish. But basically, there's a huge earthquake in this part of the story, and the people go underground for some reason, and this is where they find Tlaloc, because the earthquake has devastated the world. I don't know why they go down into the ground, but they're basically spelunking in these caves, and this is where they run into Tlaloc. Then this guy stands in front of the Tlaloc mask. There you heard him say it. Then I cut the sound here. And then they show what Tlaloc requires, which is organ sacrifice. As this guy is possessed, he's actually talking in Tlaloc's voice. Again, I'm not playing the sound. I don't want you guys to have to deal with all that. But I wanted you to see the beating heart pulled out of his chest and the face of Tlaloc. There he goes right there. There's Tlaloc right there. Can't make this up, you guys. He then eats the heart, and then this lady pulls his heart, another guy's heart, out of his chest. Again, I'm not going to show you the graphic nature of that, but suffice it to say, you need to know that the symbolism exists, and it's being repeated over and over again. Now that you know that we don't just come up with stuff just to make it up for sensationalism, that this is all Holy Spirit inspired, and you're going to hear more mentions of Tlaloc even after this program today, which will confirm it even more in your mind. Now we know that something is afoot, don't we? And God is trying to warn us. Warn his people. Now, what concerns me about this go-around is that God was pretty specific in this Tlaloc thing, wasn't he? It all started with Lahaina, remember, in Burning Man. This is when we found the cult of Tlaloc. Then we found it in Joe versus the Volcano and all these other films, and then more recent films. God is being very specific programming that is being revealed that will manifest in some way, shape, or form in the coming months, days, and years as we approach the new fire ceremony of 2027. Now, unless you believe in God, unless you believe in dreams and visions and inspirations from the Holy Spirit to lead his people into all truth, you're not even going to believe all of this. You're going to find a way, just like in the movie that we just decoded, you're going to find a way to justify this in your mind. You're going to be like, there's no way. There's no way. Casey must have found a way to find out that they were going to talk about Tlaloc. But then when you do your own investigation, you'll realize it's not in the trailers. It's not in anything. It's an inspiration of the Holy Spirit. Now, apparently God wants this busted wide open, this cult, because as we approach the final last days, there will be deep, deep deception. And the importance of this cult is tantamount to one of the largest revelations on this channel since the 99 red balloons pandemic prediction that we clearly made 2 years before it happened. This is right up there with it, and this is going to be the next big thing. Now, there's even more proof, because some people might still not believe what they're actually seeing, and it's going to take a while for this to kind of sink in. But here is more proof that I'm going to show you that all this is real. This is Tesla's vehicle plug, electric vehicle plug here in the middle of your screen. And I didn't find this. One of you found this. And if you're in the chat, please speak up. Let us know you're here. You said that the new Tesla, I guess this is called the fast charger or something, supercharger. One of you said that the face of Tlaloc is on the charger. And I was like, no way would they be that blatant. But the problem is people ignore the symbolism. Or they're too wrapped up in other things in life. Or they don't want to look at the symbolism. And so they miss these very obvious connections here. This is an obvious connection. Look at the plug. Look at Tlaloc's face. It's a sad face with goggle eyes. And this distinct delta pattern formed by his cheeks and his middle of his brow of his forehead down through his nose, just like the plug. Now, I'm not showing you all this to scare you. This is to make you aware of what's happening. The electric kingdom is upon us. It's only going to increase, and as it increases, oppression will increase with it under the guise of climate change. This is how they're going to do it. Even though they hate the climate, they hate wildlife, they hate cows, they hate deer, they hate them because they think, or they tell us, that they are contributing to global warming because of their emissions, methane emissions. So secretly, they don't want nature. They want a barren landscape, just like before the flood. If you want to do another study, take some notes here. Again, this is going to be one for the archives. If you want another study, look at the Book of Enoch and the Book of Giants and go to the part that talks about what the earth looked like just before the flood. That basically the Nephilim had basically erased the entire planet. There was nothing left. It was a barren landscape. And you see echoes of this in the movie Noah with Russell Crowe. Just before the flood, there's a supernatural growth of trees that Noah uses to build the ark because there were no trees left. And it'll be the same in these days of Noah. Had God not cut those days short, there would be no flesh left. It's not just human flesh, it's all flesh. Deer, cow, wild animals. Look at the delta type of inverted T in the plug here, and you can clearly see it in this Tlaloc mask here. This is unbelievable. Now, I did an overlay of this. Where does it go? Oh, here's Tlaloc's face there. And in my little program that I use, and I like faded it in and out so you can kind of see this. And I probably should have used some of the other images to be more exact, but this one's close enough. This image of Tlaloc's face, there's slight variations in what its face looks like. This one doesn't demonstrate the downturned face, the downturned frown, as well as the other faces, but it still shows the similarities between the two. This is in Tesla's plug. Now, what makes this disturbing is that this god required child sacrifice every 52 years. This is why they kind of hide this whole cult of Tlaloc, even though it's prominent in Mexico. If you go to Mexico, that's like the most recognizable face in Mexico City, where all these sacrifices took place. But to the rest of the world, people are kind of oblivious to it. Now, this begs the question. Just a question. Oh, by the way, I went to warning school on YouTube. Okay, this is what we have to deal with. A lot of people have no idea what goes into running a YouTube channel and trying to stay relevant and also stay safe on YouTube without losing your channel. But essentially, YouTube gave us the opportunity to erase our warning, because warnings would just sit on your channel forever and you're just waiting for a strike and then you're down for 2 weeks. So anyway, I went to warning school. They offered warning school to erase your warning. I went on there and you have to take this dumb test. It's a 7-question test. And you basically have to admit you were wrong and answer these questions about what's acceptable and what's not acceptable in terms of medical misinformation. Now, I was kind of shocked because they actually allow for you to make a statement that might contradict the medical consensus, but you also have to provide fair balance and talk about what the official line is. I was shocked. I actually got some of the questions wrong because they're like, is this a violation of YouTube's medical misinformation policy? And I was like, no. And then I was like, yes. And they're like, no, incorrect. You can have a different opinion as long as you offer the official line. So they're kind of like, they're doing something weird. Now, I'm not going to give into that. I'm going to continue to use coded language, call things pokers and stickers and juice club. And sometimes I get a little concerned about my counterparts here on YouTube who feel like they have to actually say the word. Okay? Because when you mirror those videos in which they're essentially getting themselves a strike, you're going to get a strike too. And that concerns me. I don't know what happens when you share those videos, but sometimes the specific language is a bit concerning. Like we should all be trying to, well, I don't know. There's different schools of thought. Some people just go bold and they're like, well, I'm going to say whatever I want. If I get kicked off, I get kicked off. But imagine all of the decoding we wouldn't have been able to do if we just got kicked off of YouTube, right? It's been a long journey, hasn't it? Now let's keep going. Tlaloc is about energy and electricity. Remember, he wielded a lightning bolt, right? He wielded a lightning bolt as a wand. This was all about energy and power. And the controllers like to measure power with electricity, don't they? In fact, check out this Mexican currency called a Tlaloc and listen to how they describe the value of this currency. It's an accumulation of energy in the currency. Let's watch. Now, I'm going to be fast forwarding through parts of this. I don't want to get a copyright, but let's see if we can get through this.
Economic globalization, love it or hate it. For most of
She just said it right there. Economic globalization, and this is all going to boil down to. I wouldn't be shocked if the new world currency was called a Tlaloc. Let's keep watching.
us, it means conforming to a financial system we have less and less reason to trust. Witness the riots outside the program, Cash No Questions, brings you stories of people who've decided not to conform, stockbrokers.
So she's talking about people creating currencies who have decided not to conform. Now, obviously, this is a very old video, but this was programming for the blockchain, which they told us was going to be, you know, untrackable, untraceable, and a free currency. And look what it ended up becoming. It is a precursor to the global currency. And I'll put a link to this for everyone and all these other, you know, sources, so you guys can see all this for yourself if you want to take the time to break all this down.
Mexico City, a vast sprawl of neighborhoods of more than 20 million.
So there, now they fast forward to Mexico City.
People that.
And let's listen to what she says next.
It's grown relentlessly through decades of Mexico's economic instability.
What? A Tlaloc.
For the past 10 years, an alternative currency called the Tlaloc has been circulating, creating a network of small enterprises.
If I get a cup of coffee from you, I have a memory here.
So, a memory. What is a memory? An electric signal. Look, keep listening. This is crazy.
I owe you.
Esto en dinero.
We have not to pay interest for that. The banks are making a commodity of this memory.
Now, they're mixing truth with lies, right? Obviously, he's correct. Banks are... The financial system now is predatory, isn't it? It basically gets interest off of the money that we make, the currency we make, and the banks will always make money off of us just by us using their system.
Y un Tlaloc. Le voy a dar un Tlaloc.
And they are earning a lot of money with this commodity.
So he's correct. Watch.
life was chosen as the symbol of a novel solution. Tlaloc, the Aztec god of water.
Commodity, and this earning is called interest.
Tlaloc, the Aztec god of water and life, was chosen as the symbol of a novel solution to these problems.
What the heck is going on here? Let's keep watching.
The debtor receives something, and the creditor is giving something. In this moment,
So essentially, on the back of these notes, you have to sign it. Think about the implications of that. The signature. It's like an oath.
the two signatures have created a value. In this case,
Look at this guy even has the Tlaloc glasses on. He's literally almost wearing goggles. Let's keep watching here.
half an hour, because it's half Tlaloc. And then, in the back,
There's the list of names on the back. So it's kind of like almost like a check that just keeps circulating. Right? What is a check? A check is a mark. Check mark. The mark. Financial currency.
every signature represents a transaction. So, this bill, without any cost or
Tracks you through your signature. I couldn't even believe this when I found this. I couldn't even believe it.
only the cost of the paper or printing the paper has created 10 times the value.
The system creates a new marketplace for small business.
So they go on to tout this as this is going to free small businesses because it's outside of the predatory banking system. But as you see, it still literally demonstrates that they can still keep tabs on you because obviously your signature has been added to the currency. Cannot buy or sell. Now, I dug even deeper. Let me check in with you guys and I'm going to show you this. Good morning, everybody. Wow. Glad you guys all were able to tune in. Chilly morning. Let's keep watching here. Let's keep looking at this. This was a conference from 2012, as you can see on your screen here, the International Social Transformation Conference. And this was all about currency and transforming the world economic system. Okay? In fact, let's do a search. Find. Currency is mentioned 1,244 times. Let's just go through some of the first ones. A better kind of backing, helping sustainable currencies to scale. Joel Thompson, combining natural savings and parallel planting in Kenya, a green currency to support indigenous forward stewardship. Now, this was back in 2012. It's all about currency, is what I wanted to get you to see. Now, in this paper is mentioned Tlaloc, this currency that I just showed you in the video, listed as one of these currencies. So now you're seeing how far back this went. What we just witnessed was the precursor, the infancy of the blockchain technology, the cryptocurrency, and all this. We were sold a bill of goods that it was going to help free mankind, and it will actually be the chains of our enslavement. Now, Tlaloc brought the rain. So, this is what people believed. They believed he brought the rain. And originally, the statue of Tlaloc, which is what you're seeing on your screen right now, this is the largest monolithic sculpture in the Americas. They found it in a riverbed, as you can see here. But it was moved to the museum in Mexico City on a truck, according to the story. This is fascinating stuff, you guys. Here's the truck right here, and the Tlaloc statue on top of it. Again, the largest monolithic structure in the Americas. They found this thing, and they went to go move it. But the people who had it in their riverbed were upset, and they tried to sabotage the moving truck by puncturing the tires, letting the air out, because they literally thought that if this statue was moved that they would then suffer droughts. And that's exactly what happened. All of a sudden, there were droughts and no rain. What the heck is going on here? This is weird, isn't it? So, those are some of the updates on Tlaloc and how it's going to play a role in the future. It's going to be tied into the currency somehow. I firmly believe that. We've got the astronomical, why do I keep saying that? Alignments that we just discovered, pointing to 2027 and the new fire ceremony. I don't know what that's going to entail. Probably war. Who knows? We're going to keep seeing this manifesting in our reality. Now, let's switch gears here and get back to the Honey Milk Ranch. Try to, stay positive. There's a lot of darkness going on in the world. It's happening all around us. We all know. Think back 20 years ago or even 10 years ago, what the world was like. Everything's changed. People have changed. Everything's changed. COVID had a lot to do with that. And just the world has changed. Economically, it's harder to create money. There's more taxes. It's like we're all hunkered down. And I don't like the world we live in now. It upsets me. But it is what it is. This is why our home is not in this place. At least my home isn't. My home is in the next life. But we have to get by for now. The best thing you could do is try to get yourself out of this system, little ways here and there, until you get free of it, and you'll be a lot happier for it. Because as they tighten the screws on the rules and everything else, the taxation, it's going to get more and more miserable for most people. But let's show you the Honey Milk Ranch, and after that, we're going to get into American Horror Story to finish the show. But I wanted to show you guys the fall colors that are coming into bloom here. Hey guys, I just wanted to document the beautiful fall colors. Gosh, what an amazing time of the year out here. Wow, just amazing. And got lots of cool footage for you guys of foxes and squirrels and turkey and bucks and kind of everything else. Let's take a quick walk out here. Wow, just look at that dogwood tree, how it's going into bloom there. That's just beautiful. Ooh, there's turkeys right over there. Right, walking right through my neighbor's property. About 5 turkeys. Probably can't see them from here, but they see me. Those are some big turkeys. Can't wait till turkey season. That's not till May. But look at those beautiful fall colors against the backdrop of the still green oaks. Wow. Now, I know it might sound silly, but I consult the Most High for everything. I listen, wait for his still small voice. People don't even, you don't have to get on your knees and pray and put your hands together to pray to God. You're constantly talking to him in your head. And I remember thinking to myself, what colors do I want for this couch? And I was like, I like this rust color. And God was like, that's a good color. And then look at this. It literally ties in the inside to the outside. They match. Walk out here. Wow, just look at that dogwood tree, how it's going in. To me, that's just kind of fascinating. Now, as you guys know, on Sunday's show, we were doing the show, or Saturday show, sorry. And we caught a chipmunk on camera. I turned on the GoPro. I was live with you guys. Here's the chipmunk. And they're trying to make homes in the garage again. There he is sitting on top of that wood pile. Right off the edge of the garage there. That's a big chipmunk. I'll show you guys this footage on the next show. Obviously you're not seeing it now. There he's eating a nut. Hopefully I can zoom him in. Alright. So there's the chipmunk that we caught live. Now, let's go to the trail cam footage, which is down the hill. Lots of cool wildlife. And then we'll get into the log splitting challenge, which I want to show you next. But look at this beautiful doe. This is every single night, you guys. Look at this squirrel. He's just running through. Now, there's no food plot here. It's just a leveled out area. Look at that buck. That is Starbuck the buck. Here is, I believe, an armadillo. Right there. It's got to be an armadillo. And here's Starbuck the chupacabra. As the camera caught him off in the distance. The crazy horns. I don't know what that is. Look at this. Boom, something pops in front of the camera. Probably an insect of some kind. There's lots of walking sticks around here. Look at this beautiful giant turkey. I don't think I'm ever going to go hungry out here. There's literally food walking around. That is a massive turkey. Now, let's get into some of these other images of, I don't know what this one caught. Oh, there's I think this is a fox. I don't know what that is. I always wonder if I'm going to catch something really cool, like some kind of, let's see, what's that? Is there something there? Something flew in front of the camera there. They literally know the camera's there, even though it's pitch black outside. Here's a good shot with several deer, a whole herd of them coming in. Now, according to Arkansas rules, you can see a light back here. This is actually my neighbor's property. And I'm not allowed to discharge a firearm within 150 yards of a residence unless I have written permission. Now, I don't know anybody that would give written permission for someone to shoot a firearm within 150 yards of their house. So I'm not even going to try. So, but what I can do is do archery. And you're allowed with archery to do 50 yards, and I'm well within that. So he's about 100 yards from this point. So at some point I may get a bow. I'm going to probably need some help in terms of knowledge of which bow to buy. I do know I want a compound bow and not a crossbow. Because I don't want to like be cranking bows. Look at these shots here. This is just amazing. It's literally herd of deer every single night that comes over here, and healthy deer too. Healthy. Now, there's a big controversy out here because there never was chronic wasting disease out here of deer. But believe it or not, Arkansas has a herd of elk that were brought in, and they carried in the chronic wasting disease and spread it to the deer. So people are upset about this, and some people believe maybe it was intentional, right? Arkansas is one of the last frontiers of wildlife. As you can see from just my little 6-acre parcel of property, there's a beautiful fox with a nice full tail. What a beautiful animal. Here's that squirrel again. This guy right here. Wow. There he is again. And here I think is an armadillo maybe. Probably. So some of these are kind of like mystery animals, aren't they? And there's the buck. There's Starbuck, the majestic buck. 6-point buck there. Look at the size of him. Now, there's the squirrel again. Look at the turkey. Ba-dum-bum. There they are again. Wow. There's a good shot. Look at that turkey. What is that, a 10-pounder, maybe? Wow. So, we're going to be doing a show soon about the controversy of trophy hunting, because I realized something. In fact, we'll just talk about it now before we get into American Horror Story to end the show here. Oh, also the wood chopping challenge. So, why is buck hunting encouraged? Well, I believe the deer hunting and buck hunting is the microcosm of something much larger. It is the microcosm of men going to war. They want the bucks to die because then, if there's no men around, then a society can implode, can't it? And so, this is what buck hunting is, and I'll tell you something. You know, I'm kind of new at hunting, and I have not even taken my first deer yet, but I can tell you there's a huge emphasis on catching the bucks. And even when I first heard about that, I thought it was a little bit weird. Here I caught like an orb. That looks like an orb I caught right here on the screen. Anyway, what is this about? Well, there are a lot more does than there are bucks, and anyone will tell you this. There are a lot more does than there are bucks. Now, some people will argue, oh, there's just as many bucks, they just hide. Well, I can tell you, and looking at my trail cam footage, we saw about a 10 to 9 or 10 to 1 ratio. 1 buck to every 10 does. There's an ear of one of them that I caught there, just sitting in the corner there. Fascinating footage. What is that? Oh, there's another deer. Now this right here is a tree stump that's we tried to roll down the hill. Here's some more deer. In the daytime they're coming out. So by erasing the bucks, it ends the seed of man, is what I believe this is really about. There's some crows out in the field. It's erasing the seed of man is what I believe this is really all about. So there's the footage there. Now, let's get into this log cutting competition or challenge, I guess you can call it. I looked at the log weight calculator, and in the video that you're going to see next, I anticipated that the log was only about 300 pounds, but when I plugged it into this calculator, as you can see here, it's actually 500 pounds. Watch this. All right, guys, we're doing a little challenge today. We are going to try to split the largest round on the property. This log is 30 inches across, and this was the piece that came directly off of it. Which is, well, hold on, let me check in with you guys first, make sure we're still connected. Now, interestingly, did we lose some people? I don't know why people click off when we talk about the Honey Milk Ranch, but it is what it is, right? This is end days preparation. People might want to start tuning in because a lot of America is going to look like this soon for the people that start to survive the last days. But anyway, make a long story short, what was I saying here? Oh, okay. Let's go back to this here. Where'd I go? Oh, there I am. This is a 30-inch log. Again, this is a 500-pound piece of log, and it's, as you can see, it's covered in this weird fungus or some whatever it is, right? They look like turkey tails, but they're not. The tree was beginning to die and suffer, so I had to take it down. Is also, well, it's 29 inches by 22 inches. So I plugged in those dimensions into the calculator, and as you can see, it said 500 pounds. And according to my measurements, this log weighs approximately 300 pounds. We're going to try to get it out onto the roadway here. We're going to try to split this log by hitting it in that crack you see in the middle. Let's give it a shot. All right, here we go. 300-pound log. Now you're going to see the initial cut, and then I fast forward it, and this is when I go into angry child mode. Got some fungus growing on it. We're going to hit it right there. Let's see if we can split this log. Here we go. Does that bounce? Aiming for that crack. If I can get that crack, I can get it. Here it goes. Here it goes. Yeah. Was that 6 hits? That. Oh, dang it. I was going to do a poll, see if you guys could guess how many hits it would take to split it. Oh well, too late. Oh, it's fun. Now we can cut it like a pie. Hope you guys enjoyed Angry Child. Well, we gotta laugh a little bit, right? Because this stuff is all so serious. But anyway, I didn't want to have you have to watch me chop wood, so I fast forwarded and I was like, wow, I sound like an angry child. So that's pretty much it. I wanted to show you the whole process of what it takes to, this is one log, you guys, 500-pound log, cut it into pieces. Probably took me about 15-20 minutes total time. Great workout. I was surprised I wasn't sore after this. I guess I'm getting into some pretty decent shape. And that's how you do it. That's how you split a 30-inch log. That took about 15 minutes. It's not perfect, it's not pretty, but as soon as this dries out, it will burn. It will burn. Now, let's get into the latest episode of the American Horror Story. We'll finish up the show today with that. For those of you that haven't been following along, this woman right here thinks she lost her baby. She finds a dead raccoon, which of course the word raccoon scrambled is corona. And she basically picks this thing up and swaddles it like a baby and puts it in a bassinet. Now what does this represent? Let's take a look at this scene here from American Horror Story, the 12th season. I mean, how disgusting is this? A bloody dead raccoon I believe this represents the birth of the new race through the raccoon corona and the poker. Watch. A black cat emerges, and just after this scene, the doctor tells her that she has a phantom twin. Remember this twin spirits thing we've been talking about? This is how I knew there was gonna be a twin. Now, there was an episode called Vanishing Twin.
But it was mostly the movement thing.
Well, like we said, that's that's not possible. I almost never say this, but I think I was wrong. Your baby is very much alive. That is its heartbeat. When a woman is pregnant with multiples and one of the embryos isn't viable, that embryo is expelled.
So now you're saying I was pregnant with twins? Vanishing twins?
Yeah. Well, it's unusual, but I think what you've been experiencing is something that we call vanishing twin syndrome. Yeah, it's possible.
Why didn't you see that earlier?
It can be very difficult to determine if a woman is pregnant with multiples before 12 weeks or so.
So now you're seeing the connection between the raccoon corona and this new race that is being spawned out of it. And I forgot to mention, she actually eats that dead raccoon. I'm not going to show that to you, of course, but it suggests there's a zombie component to it, right? And that's what it suggests in the film. Now, tomorrow, you're going to laugh. We're going to get into some just ridiculous and very odd coffee talk headlines. Travis Kelce of the NFL, Kansas City Chiefs, gets his own ankle injury. So now it's Kelce versus, Aaron Rodgers, and they both have their ankle injuries. Also, we're going to look at India's new Star Wars droid lunar lander that looks exactly like the droid from the new Ahsoka Star Wars TV series. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, you guys. And then Grizzly Joe Biden, we're going to start calling him, wants to release killer rabbit grizzlies into populated communities. In case you had any doubts about what we've been trying to tell you guys for a couple years now, that something has changed with the animals and they're attacking people. A lot of people are still in denial about that. They think that, it's just because we're in their habitat. No, something is wrong. And this is why Joe Biden wants to literally reintroduce grizzlies into populated communities. Still think that there isn't something going on with the wildlife? I think there's something going on with the wildlife. And then there goes that chipmunk again. He just ran out from under the house. Wow. Let's get him on camera again so you guys can see him for the next show. He always shows up at the same time, doesn't he? There he is. Sitting on his little perch again, the same exact spot. Gosh, is this the same time? No, we did the show later that morning, didn't we? Anyway, I got him. Oh, shoot. Battery just went dead. You kidding me? Maybe it got the clip. We'll play it for you guys on the next show. Anyway, there's my resident chipmunk. All right. So anyway, then you're going to laugh even more because tomorrow we're going to cover Gavin Newsom. What is he up to now? Patronizing the Hispanic vote. How is he doing this? Are you ready? He wants to bring back low riding to California and college tuition for illegal immigrants only on the border. You can't make this up, you guys. You just can't. Now, what else? Well, people are freaked out. Oh, let's cover this one. Let's cover this one story because I don't want to make you guys wait. For those of you that stuck it out till the end. This guy, because we got to end on a positive note. This guy thought it was a good idea to fly his own version of a Chinese spy balloon look-alike with Polish writing on it over Texas. In the weeks leading up to the eclipse, and it was shot down by citizens. You can't make this up, you guys. I left a comment on here. Of course, they thought I was a right-wing nut. They were making all kinds of Trump jokes about me. I said, what do you expect people are going to do? You've got balloons flying over. And I said in my comment, this is what happens when your own government destabilizes its borders on purpose just to gaslight Americans. When they're allowing men of fighting age from all kinds of countries to pour in across the border, who get to go by different rules than you and I get to go by, as we just demonstrated. And they're still giving freebies out to illegals so that they keep coming. But they're giving the illusion that they're tightening the borders, like the wall, and Biden continuing to build the wall. But ultimately, it's just a bipartisan effort to destabilize our country. We're selling off land to foreigners. We're allowing corporations to buy large swaths of land, which drives up the price of land for you and I, individuals. What happened to our country? There's nowhere left for Americans to go to feel safe or to maintain the American dream. And then a strange balloon flies low over the treetops. What do they think's going to happen? So I wrote a comment to that effect, and I got roasted. People are like, and of course a lot of it's probably AI. Listen to the story. I can't even.
One of the pilots of a sport balloon that caught fire Monday says someone was shooting in the moments before they made the emergency landing. Hello, I'm Steve Eager.
Okay,
Heather Hayes. So this dramatic video shows.
Wait, hold on. Look at this balloon.
Explosion that happened moments after a Dallas ISD teacher and two other Good Samaritans managed.
What the heck?
To get one of those pilots to safety. Fox 4's Lori Brown is live in Dallas with the story. Lori.
Don't mess with Dallas.
Heather, the pilot told us that he and his co-pilot heard rapid gunfire Monday evening, forcing them to think fast to try to land.
Someone pulled out a whatever, right? And started popping off round. I mean, I hate to laugh, but it's hilarious. Look at this guy. We heard more and more automatic guns. It was not one shot. It was do. Krzysztof Zapart, who along with Polta Halas were competing for Polish national team. Listen to this. I mean, what do you think is going to happen?
The balloon before it would hit an electrical substation.
2,000 feet, 2,500 feet over the ground. We heard shooting.
Oh, I heard shooting.
Half automatic. Yeah.
We had no idea why someone would want to shoot at us. We were trying to talk to one another, and then we heard man thought we were invaded by Russia. We're not Russian. We are Polish.
You know, it was decision for it was.
Now, who thought of this bright idea to let this guy do this? You guys, America's getting really weird right now. People are upset.
It was thinking for us. What happened next?
Krzysztof Zapart tells us it was gunfire, not mechanical failure. That
I was simply flying my balloon with Russian writing on my insignia. And why would someone do this to us?
Brought his adventure in a multi-state balloon race to an abrupt end. He is a pilot for the Polish national team in the prestigious Gordon Bennett gas balloon race that launched Saturday in New Mexico. He and his
I mean, this is right out of Red Dawn, isn't it?
Pilot Peter Halas were flying over Kaufman County when he says they had to think fast.
We heard more and more half automatic guns, not one shot.
It reminded me of Kalashnikov from Russia.
They immediately realized their sport balloon could be mistaken for something else.
Most of
you think?
In the West, thinking about Chinese spy balloons. I think it is a big problem.
Zapart said they decided to land to avoid getting shot.
And we're going down.
Oh, Zapart, and I thought the bullet would zap me in the heart.
Watching about for place for landing.
That's when they saw an electrical substation and tried to avoid it. But after the basket touched down, the gas balloon hit the power lines.
And I watched that small sparks of the balloon coming inside the balloon and he's exploding.
Zappart says he was in a daze with burns to his hands and an injury to his rib cage. Fortunately, Dallas ISD English teacher Israel Alfaro and 2 others saw the landing.
I hope this dude's okay.
And rushed to help pull Peter Halas to safety.
I watched Peter on the ground and his leg was completely destroyed.
This video captured how little time they had. Moments after Alfaro got Halas out, there was
destroyed.
This video
I mean, I don't know. This looks a little staged to me. Look at it. He's just, we're going to film him laying on the ground just 2 feet away from a burning gondola.
Captured how little time they
Please help me.
had. Moments after Alfaro got Halas out, there was an explosion.
Like, wouldn't the person with the camera like be trying to drag that guy away from the fire? I don't know.
Because if we stay in the basket alone, would be end of the life.
We were at the Parkland Burn Center as Alfaro stopped by Wednesday.
You feeling better?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, they come and...
Oh my gosh. Anyway, I thought I would end on a positive note for you guys. I shouldn't be laughing. It's just crazy, you guys. It's just crazy. The world has gone insane. It's literally gone insane. They're programming people to accept balloons just flying around. And if you do anything to protect yourself, then you're the bad guy. They're literally saying if a balloon flies overhead with Russian writing on it, you have to just assume it's in a hot air balloon race. I can't even believe it. Anyway, let's go into the chat and see what you guys think. All right. Oh my gosh. What do you guys think of all this? Is this crazy or what? Actors, many of you don't believe the story, and I would agree this could be a staged story. It'd be easy to stage something like this, right? Because no one could confirm the story. Go Tex. Well, at least we know they're ready. At least we know they're ready if the story was true. Wow. Did any of you guys hear about this? Are any of you from that county? Now, here's what they don't understand. They think that everybody watches the news. They think that everybody just knows. Well, a lot of people don't watch TV. All they know is there's a balloon with Russian writing flying overhead. They don't know it's Polish. They think they're being invaded. They think it's a Red Dawn scenario. You can't blame someone for shooting at something that's flying over their property at low altitude and low speed, not knowing what they could be dropping onto your property. So, you know, but it's crazy because I left a comment on the story, and I'll post the story, the link to that. You guys can go and comment under my comment if you want. It's under KC, a K and a C initials. That's what the comment I left, and it's got a lot of thumbs down, people attacking the comment, and I'm just laughing at them because I'm like, you people are so lost when you're sitting in your 15-minute city and you have to ask permission to go visit your Aunt May in the state next to you, all under the guise of climate change, and you can't escape because there's a border wall around you. Then you're going to remember this post. Then you're going to remember the post. But this is the world we live in now. 90% of the people are completely asleep, and they're actually part of the reason, part of the people building our very prison for the future. We're not going to recognize America in the next 5 years. Could be even less. But anyway, I love you guys, and thanks for showing up. Have a great rest of your day. Take care and be safe, everyone.